The Associated Press is catching some heat for the way they tweeted about Amal Clooney, a legendary human rights activist who continues to be referred to as George Clooney's wife. Now, the tweet in question said the following: Amal Clooney, actor's wife, representing Al Jazeera journalist accused in Egypt of ties to extremists. Now, a few people saw that and they were not pleased because she was referred to an actor's wife as opposed to a human rights activist / lawyer, right? And by the way, the story itself has nothing to do with George Clooney at all. But nonetheless, people decided to call the AP out on this, and here's what they said. The AP fixed their mistake, okay? They later switched it out. But before they did so, some women decided to make the change for the Associated Press. Fixed it for you, AP. Let me know if you need an introduction to the 21st century. Another person says, it's a good job that when she's not being George Clooney's wife, she's not a high-profile human rights lawyer or anything. All right.
Wait, so let's not... Go ahead.
All right, so there might be some disagreement here. Look, for the most part, I know what the Associated Press is doing. I don't think that they were subconsciously sexist. I don't think that they were explicitly or overtly sexist. I think what they tried to do here is get as many people to click on the link as possible. And the way you do it is by appealing to people's obsession with celebrity culture, right? So that's the reason why they did it. I don't think that they did it to be sexist. However, when it comes to Amal Clooney, overall, the general response and the general coverage is always, oh, here's this hot woman who's George Clooney's wife. No. This woman has done amazing things in her career. She represented Julian Assange. I mean, what she's doing right now in Egypt for these Al Jazeera journalists who are imprisoned is incredible. I mean, she is, again, a legendary human rights lawyer, and she's incredibly intelligent, incredibly courageous, incredibly successful, and that's what she should be referred to. But oftentimes, I think that she's belittled as someone's wife, when in reality, there's much more to her than that.
I think...
Go ahead.
I think everything that you said there is true, 100%. I wonder, though, if us three were to take 5 minutes, how many other human rights lawyers we could name. And that's why they had to put Clooney's wife.
But at this point,
it wouldn't be a story if she wasn't
Everyone knows
Clooney's
who
wife.
she is.
If it was just about some other human rights...
It would absolutely be a story, okay, if she was not Clooney's wife. But would as many people click on it? No. I think it would be reported.
This story is being reported.
This story is definitely being reported. It's a huge story.
Reported, but I'm saying I don't think that whenever she's brought up, whenever there's an opportunity for people to say, hey, look, they referred to her as Clooney's wife, why is the AP not filled up with stories about other human rights lawyers? Because they don't cover what other human rights lawyers do. They cover the one that's got a high profile and is famous.
Well, this is a high-profile story. I mean, aside from Amal Clooney being involved in it, there are 2 journalists that are now imprisoned in Egypt, and we need to do something about it.
So what the AP, Johnny, if I may, what the AP did there was they decided to, in order to up their clicks on this story, they decided to dismiss a highly accomplished woman in favor of celebrity, so they could sell a few more bars of soap. And instead of doing what they should have done was just rely on the fact that this is a really high... They're at the AP, right? They're not some small time... Instead of what they should have done was like, this is already a big story. I knew about this story. I didn't know it was George Clooney's wife. But I knew about this story, and I knew there was a human rights lawyer that was defending this guy, and that the Al Jazeera, and this is a big deal, right? So I knew about the story. I didn't know that. So what they decided to do was like, well, if you're not informed and you don't give a care about this, maybe you give a care about George Clooney's wife, which is a shitty thing to do, I think. And you know who's going to be, I can't wait to see how Bill Clinton's wife reacts to this.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I mean, when you really think about it, people refer to Hillary as Bill Clinton's wife constantly. Like, it would be
hopefully they haven't done that for a few years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I totally get if you believe that putting that in that demeans her. I think that it perhaps draws in more people. Should it? No. I think that the fault then is people who click on things with that have generated in the media the knowledge that if they do that, they'll get more clicks. I don't want that to be the case, but that apparently is the case. I want to make one point. It definitely seems like this is sexism. It fits into the pattern of demeaning women, not respecting their accomplishments, which might very well be true. But I have a feeling that if there was a male human rights lawyer who happened to be married to Jennifer Lawrence, they would refer to him as Jennifer Lawrence's husband.
Okay, and if there was a history of
famous person.
And if there was a history of marginalizing accomplished women because they were married
I understand
accomplished men because they were married.
Then that would, I bet the AP would still do it, regardless of the pattern. But because we want to tie people to more famous people.
I look for AP to set the standard for journalism, not to be the shittiest purveyor of it.
Yeah,
I guess that's fine. Look, I'm not saying that what they did wasn't wrong. I'm explaining why I think that they do it.
Oh, I know why they did it.
We know. Everyone knows why they do it. But the AP is not Fox News. The AP
is not the Inquirer.
Is honestly one of the largest. Yes, exactly. It's one of the largest media organizations in the country that, by the way, it's a wire service, so everyone else in the media takes their news and then they re-report it. That's what the AP is all about, right? So if they're setting the standard in that way, I think that actually does a huge disservice in the world of media because it sets an example and it's a bad example. And look, here's the thing. I get it. I get that's why she has this huge profile and so many people know her. They know her now because of the fact that she married Clooney. But at this point, we all know who she is. You don't have to keep referring to the fact that she's married to Clooney, especially when it's a story that has nothing to do with Clooney. Clooney's the most irrelevant part of this equation, right? So I think that's the reason why it rubbed people the wrong way. We all know why they did it. The Associated Press didn't do it to be sexist. They didn't do it to demean her. They did it because they wanted the clicks.
But that's the effect.
That's the effect.
And they know that will be the effect, and they don't give a shit.
They play into it because it's good for their business. Let's keep it real. At the end of the day, money has a big role in every single facet of life.
Yeah. And again, they're wrong to do it, but it is society that has created the desire to do it or the knowledge that it will pay off.
Right.
That is our fault. The fact that it will get more clicks if you put whoever, George Clooney or whatever, if you tie it to some celebrity. And maybe the effect, the fact that more people will read it, it is an important story. It's good that they read it. I wish that they didn't need the attachment to some actor or actress or singer or whatever. And I think that we generally are against that in most areas, but that's the way people are, man.